fine. Otherwise, we'll just kind of plow on. So thanks everybody for joining our January 2022 meeting. Why don't we start out with approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was November 15th, 2021. So can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, do I have a second?
Wasn't there, can I second? Yeah.
All right, so we got a second. All in favor, we'll say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, motion carries. Thank you, folks. All right, town liaison report. Taylor, what do you have for us today?
Hey all, most of the updates that I have are correlating with our following items. So not too much other than thank you for being flexible with the town's requirements of making all of our meetings virtual. So I appreciate accommodating that. Thank you so much to Fernando for making this possible so that we can have our monthly meetings. Outside of that, we, at least the team in the Halley, we're on like a part-time in the Halley, part-time at home. So thanks for being flexible with any delays in phone calls or emails. It's tricky moving back and forth in and out of the office. So other than that, everything else I'll have to say is for our later moments for our minutes.
Thanks, Taylor. And I think there was another meeting or two we had to move off our normal third Monday.
Yes.
Is it next month because it was President's Day or something?
It was the June meeting.
Okay, June.
And
okay.
Yeah. And I'll send out, if it would help, I'll send out an email with all of the meetings for this year. And
yeah, that'd be terrific. Or maybe post it in Slack or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you.
That works.
Are there already meeting invites sent out for those?
There are not any digital meeting invites for those. No, I'm doing one at a time, especially with the current requirement of all of our meetings virtual right now.
Okay. It would probably help me if I went ahead and got them on the calendar, but.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put them in Slack either tonight after the meeting or tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. One other question for you, Taylor. We do have an opening, a vacancy on our committee. Do you know of any progress on that?
So I'm essentially waiting on applications coming in. We had one, but it was over a year ago. And so we're trying to get some new applicants. If you know anyone, want to spread the word, that would be good. But yeah, it looks like we have one opening. We're just waiting for some space.
Okay.
I do believe I had someone who made somebody, I'm not sure what person you have, but I do know of somebody who had filled out application, I think for the last spot that was filled. Okay. I think maybe, or maybe it was last summer. So I guess I'll talk to you, Taylor, make sure that you have that person's application.
Okay. Yeah, I would appreciate that. I have one that is quite old. So like to be able to have that turnaround. So that would be very helpful. Thank you, Bethany.
All right, great. Thank you for that. Any other questions for Taylor at the moment?
Kind of around that. Does it matter if it's old, or just hoping to get more than just one, or just hoping that they still actually are interested?
It's always good to have more than one for the committee, okay. But unless it's recommended, you know, someone, but I'm happy to be able to open it up if we need to, but I'll look through and make sure that I have that application available to you guys, and I'll send it over.
Clarification, the application is old, not the person who applied.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, the application is old. Age is not a determining factor.
All right. Thank you all for that. All right, chairperson's report. Again, I will also save most of my stuff for when we get into old and new business. And I have one new business item that I didn't list on the agenda, so we'll talk about that too in a moment. But there is one item I wanted to update you on. You might have seen we got a couple of inquiries through our email alias, and one was about a commentary about maybe doing something on bridges and overpasses. So we have that as a potential location in our plan. So I replied that way on that one. So I feel like that one's closed out. The other one was a local musician and composer partners with a sculptor to do something called Sounds of Sculpture. And it sounds like a really kind of interesting, potential project in the future. He and I tried to connect one time, and just for personal reasons, on his end, it got flipped out a little bit. So we'll meet. I'll meet with him between now and our next meeting. But if I get any additional information, I'll provide it in Slack for the team, just so you kind of know what's going on there. Again, might be a very unique and different opportunity for us. But we'll find out. I'll find out some more. And then if it's going to, I'll bring it back to this team to see if it's something that we want to pursue once I get some more info. Okay. All right. Well, we'll open it to public comment, but I don't know that we get that in these kind of forums. So I think we can probably move right past that. And then old business. So Sculpture Walk. So thank you everybody for participating in the selection of that. I think we have we didn't have a tremendous amount of applicants. I think we got a nice selection of sculptures to go forward with though, and a variety of sculptures and locations that these folks are coming in from. So a number of different states this time. It was all North Carolina last time, which was terrific for the show anyhow, which was kind of cool and unique in some way. And then this time, it's a little bit more, again, people from different areas of the country. So that's probably pretty cool for Apex too, to kind of spread our name out a little bit. So there is one item that I wanted to ask this team about. One of the sculptors, the piece was called, let's see, it was from Roland Karg, and it was called Perihelion. If you recall, this one was a kind of mixed media sculpture. It was painted steel, but it had a blown glass kind of orb on it. And that, unfortunately, was, well, good for him, was selected for another show. And so as he had submitted 3 sculptures for the show. So that one and one of the others he submitted was also selected elsewhere, but there is one remaining. And so it's called Egress. And it's in many ways quite similar to the one we selected, although it doesn't have the glass. I mean, it's a different form a bit, but it doesn't have the glass orb with it. My thought is to go to that as an alternate, but I wanted to hear from all of you, and then maybe we take a vote on it as a team here, if that's the course of action. Our other alternates, our other course, we didn't really select an alternate this time. We could just drop down from 9 selections to 8. Or we could go to one that we decided not to select. So I'll open it up for some thoughts from the team.
Do we happen to have a picture of the one that was available?
Good question. What was the one that was available? I do have a picture of it. Unfortunately, when I joined via, I need to just download Microsoft Teams. I joined via the web browser. It does not allow me to share. So Taylor, I'm not sure if you have it handy and can share.
Yes. Can you repeat the name of it? I'm looking through our file here.
If we go through the selection, the file that's called selections or submissions or something like that, it's towards the back because he's the last one listed, and it's Roland Karg, and it's called Egress.
Got it. All right. Let me
Thank you.
Get sharing here. Thanks for your patience. Hopefully you can see that there.
Yeah.
This is Egress.
And if you flip forward a couple of pages, you'll see the one we originally selected.
Yes.
And then come back to this just to give people a little bit of a view.
Oop.
Not that one, but the next one. Yep, that one there.
So this is the one that was selected for another show.
Correct. Originally selected by us, but gone. And this one's also gone. And this one would be his remaining one that he submitted for our show.
I've actually been tied up with a bunch of other things and unfortunately couldn't get into any of the put any submissions in for it. And this was the one of his that I actually like better. So that
Okay. So that's a strong endorsement.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I wasn't in love with the harpoon. The harpoon one made me really uncomfortable, which is kind of good and bad in art. But I wanted to make sure I like this. I like the two that were similar. The harpoon one just really made me. All I can see is danger on that one.
Is that the one in the middle?
Yeah, the harpoon.
Yeah, that was the one in the middle.
Yeah,
I thought the same.
Really uncomfortable.
I thought the same thing, but I felt uncomfortable for a different reason. So I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah, that may be just my mind being weird.
No, but I think they're very similar. I think I'd
Yeah.
rather have one. I think they're very similar versus having one less. I think if that's something we have to, is that pretty easy to substitute?
I believe so. Yes, I would say yes. It's really, I'd say up to us to make that choice. And again, I know Lafayette, you've joined. Hi, Lafayette, welcome. So we're just discussing.
Hi, everyone.
We're just discussing this piece that's on the screen here as a substitute for one that we had originally selected, but is no longer available because it was selected for another show that he applied for in parallel with ours. So,
but we gave him our exception after the other one, I guess, or we told him that he was accepted into ours, I guess, after the other one. He
That's
didn't
right.
he didn't hear both and
No, he immediately replied and let us know, and did say the other was available, and if we were able to, if we choose that.
I support it.
Okay. Sounds like we have three. Lafayette, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this one actually, Tom.
Okay.
This is one of the ones on my list.
Okay. All right, that's terrific. And I would support it as well. So why don't we? So that's great. It sounds like we have consensus to move forward with this one as an alternate. So that's terrific. Thank you for that. If Taylor, you could notify Roland, that would be great. Okay.
Yep, no problem.
And I'll let Jeff York know, our juror, just because he had been corresponding with Roland as well. The question to you, Taylor, on Unity Mural. I know, not you. Sorry, that's the next topic on the sculpture walk. The notifications. I know I had done some informal notifications to folks to let them know they were in, but as far as the contract and that kind of stuff, has that been happening?
Yeah, so the process has started. All of the letters have been written. So essentially it's just hitting yes. I wanted to make sure before I did anything, we were done with this meeting and nothing had changed.
Okay, terrific.
But yes, the letters are written in acceptance and kind of not this time, but, looking to us for the future, for our friends who were not selected. But yes, those are all ready to go out. I wanted to make sure nothing had changed during this meeting though.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. So yeah, we'll get those out. That would be great. And then we'll, continue down that path of contracting. The other action, one of the other actions that's early in the process here as we kind of work through it is to identify the locations. So we're reusing the majority of the locations that we've used in the past. I have submitted that to the town for their approval. So Sean Purvis has that information, and once he replies back with whatever changes they might want, then we'll kind of map the actual pieces to the places that are approved to be used, but the majority will be the same locations. Are working on a potential location that kind of moves things down Salem Street further. It's something that the town would like us to do also, as they try to kind of encourage maybe development down towards 55 and then other activities down that direction. So I've been attempting to reach out to Apex Baptist Church because there is a location on the far end of their property. So it wouldn't even almost look like it's on their property, but it's at that roadway that's between there and the SunTrust Bank, which is now closed, but that bank. I have not been able to, there's a contact and it's been tough to make that connection. If anyone has a contact there, please let me know and I'd be happy to work through someone else if anyone does have that kind of contact. But I am working with the planning department too to try to make a connection there. But if you know somebody, hey, that could help us too. And there's a number of other items that we'll have to work through the sculpture walk. And this team, I may need help from this team on the week of the installations, because I like to have somebody present there for each installation to just greet the artist, welcome them down and all that type of thing. But then also if there's anything they need by way of help in any way, just, to call somebody or to do something like that to support them. And as it gets closer, we'll talk about timing and things, but I know we all work and all that kind of thing, but if maybe we can tag team it a little bit that week, that would be helpful. Okay. Any questions on the sculpture walk from anyone?
When's that roughly planned for?
That is in mid-April. It is actually, I can look up those dates. The week of April 18th to the 22nd.
So installation would be early April potentially.
So that's the week they get installed,
Okay.
April 18th to the 22nd. Sometime during that week is the committed date. The others will be removed a couple of weeks prior to that.
That's Earth Week.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Interesting. Excuse me. All right. Any other questions on sculpture walk? Okay, let's see. The other old business item is Unity Mural. So we've gotten 8 submissions and we're kind of working through those right now. We're going to have representation from Town Council. Audra Killingsworth is on the committee. Melissa Purty, who is the faculty advisor for the Student Social Justice Committee, and then Chief Armstrong of Apex Police Department, as well as Taylor, myself, and Lafayette are part of the group that's working on this project. The steps that we'll take is we'll narrow the field down to a couple of artists, and then that group will really kind of interview and make those selections. We're going to shepherd it along for them, but we want that really the decision to be made by the team who kind of brought it forward to us, and that's bringing a partnership. Now we'll help, make that decision and be part of it, but we want to make sure that they feel very well invested in this and in that selection. And then there'll be a process that will go through based on the different artists and the ideas that they come forward with to get input from the community and to actually ultimately install the artwork, the mural, with help from a group of people. And how big that group will be, I don't know, but it'll likely be the social justice team, folks from the Apex Police Department, and maybe a few others as part of that. So we'll keep you updated on what's going on with that, but that's moving forward, which is great. Any questions on that one? Now, I did send the list of names. So if anyone has any experience with any of these artists and has, or, just knows anything about them, if they don't mind, providing either myself or Lafayette or Taylor with that information, that helps, us make a more informed decision, that would be helpful.
Hey, Tom, the one artist that worked with Apex before, the notation there, can you give me just a little bit more context there?
The notation. Oh, and the little spreadsheet that I sent over to you.
Yeah. There was one that worked with Apex.
Yeah, that's all. I think I just made a note of that just so you had an awareness of that in case you had forgotten or didn't, recognize or match the name that he's worked with us before. I just wanted to put that for reference.
The gentleman who did the mural, the mural on the Public Works building.
Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Appreciate it.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Next topic, downtown enhancements. So Sean, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to kind of dig into that at all, but what do you got?
I have not. Since the last time we talked about it, I think I mentioned I hit roadblocks with something, and with needing engineers, things like that. Taylor, I think I sent that to you or forwarded it to you. I don't know if that was again months ago. That was before the new year, so I haven't looked at that. And then beyond that, other than trying to find time somewhere, I haven't had a chance to look at anything else.
Okay.
I do have the two young ladies that came in and talked to us about the sustainability stuff, which I know that was one of the things that everyone kind of seemed pretty interested in. So that was going to be my next thing to kind of follow up on. That seemed like it's something that could potentially happen a little more readily, I guess, more readily available.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, so nothing yet.
Okay. Anything you need from any of us at this moment?
No, I mean, when I do, I will, because it's really going to be, okay, what's the next steps? How do I make this happen with somebody who's going to take me seriously?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I will be sure to let you guys know. And
Okay.
Taylor, I'll probably lean on you for that.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. No problem.
Thanks.
All right. Now it's like transition to new business. So we have a couple of things on there, and then one I'll add to it. So we have the 150th anniversary project first. So Taylor, maybe you give us a little background on that.
Sure. So it was more or less just David Wood and I talking, trying to get ideas. Next year, 2023, is the anniversary, 150 years. And so David and I were kind of talking about what would be a really nice addition to the Public Art Committee and how we could contribute to that celebration. And I had kind of thought that either a mural or something that is commemorative of that anniversary, since it is such a big one, it would be really nice for us to either spitball ideas or try and get something working or something happening, but some sort of commemorative for that 150, and it would be through 2023, so it could happen at any point during that year. So we have some time, of course, to think about it. It's more or less, it came on my mind when I was building our budget for next year.
Okay. And that's 150 years of Apex being incorporated as a town, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And are there any specific milestone events or anything that you know of that are being prepared or planned?
So there is a committee that myself and David are on, which is why we knew about this and wanting to come up with ideas. And it's very new. It's still fresh. So we're still bringing ideas to the table. Nothing has been finalized at this moment, but there is a group of people that for our next meeting, because we do meet once a month, it would be nice to come back or at least have an idea that we've chatted about in some way.
Yeah. Okay. Anything immediately popped to mind from anyone? Just hearing this fresh.
I mean, to me, it seems like doing another sculpture, but something that would be permanent and something that would reflect the history of the town.
So I also had a thought kind of tied into that a little bit as well. Not sculpture related, but something I guess permanent. And this kind of goes, Tom, back to the conversations we had with Carl about like the giant paint by number thing that would go in like the senior center or something like that. And so, thinking of like the history of Apex and 150 years and stuff, if we did something like that, if it was actually through the committee and something we did where it was a large scale, mural of sorts, but like that kind of paint by number style where everyone can be involved in it, everyone kind of, you know, see the piece of the history to then go in place in the senior center, kind of like we had originally been talking about with this thing. That's the first thing that popped into my head, because it's, you know, we see the interactive pieces, it works. We know that they want something in that spot kind of similar to that, and this wouldn't have like a price tag associated with it for them.
Right. Got it.
Feeding off of that, Sean, too, I was thinking about like some of the ideas of Apex history, and you know the book, the Pluck, Perseverance, and Paint that the Holloman brothers did. I was actually thinking about, it might be kind of cool if there was some, you know, you go to the art museum, there'll be a piece or a mural, and then they have some dialogue that would go with it. So it'd be really neat if it had some kind of auditory stories or snippets or even video to go with it. Something that could be a telling stories, or something that could complement it in some way that would tell, like, people talking and telling some story about Apex. From people who are still people. If it was with a senior center, it could tie into the seniors who are actually a part of the community, who have been here, and then maybe even people who are like not as more recent, you know, person to Apex, because Apex is now a lot of people from other places. But if it could include some, like, you know, historians or JC Knowles or something like that to tell some stories, would be really cool with an actual picture.
Pluck, Perseverance, and Paint, you said?
Yeah,
I have a copy of it if you want to borrow.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
I think Ewan's going to his library reference section there.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah,
I've got that like black and white little Apex history one, but not this one.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple ideas. So he's got some sculpture, maybe some paint, maybe something interactive the community could be involved in, maybe some multimedia, you know, with voiceover or what have you. So
I really love the Voices of Apex concept. That sounds super cool. You know, like that thing NPR used to do, or maybe still does. I don't know.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the ideas and being able to bounce the ideas over. So I'm excited to bring these to the group. So thank you very much.
Yeah. And if people come up with, you know, obviously think of other things, you know, share them in Slack. Sometimes your idea helps somebody else think of something, you know, it's like a seed, right? So, and these are kind of things, Taylor, you know, we definitely partner with other groups, like the Voices of Apex type of thing, you know, with marketing or somebody like that, right? So
there's lots of opportunity.
Right? Yeah, a good partnership with people. Okay,
cool, for sure.
I'm also on the Apex Historic Society. I don't know if any other folks, but they tend to be a little bit less than well organized. But we could probably, they do tend to be that sort of that crowd that would be at the senior center. So maybe to tie something in with the Historic Society would be good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I bet through the Historic Society you could find a bunch of voices that could speak well to the history. Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's perfect. Okay. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Thank you all for that. Another one for maybe a little brainstorming is Peak Fest. It's that time of year. It's January. You know, Peak Fest comes rapidly in May. In the past, we've done a couple of things to kind of raise awareness around public art and to, you know, just do a project with the community. We've done that. So I'm wondering if it's something that we would like to do this year, and if so, if there's ideas around the type of thing that we would like to do. I know I'm just dropping this on you here, so you may not have a thought about it right now, but again, it's a thing that we can kind of brainstorm through Slack, but I'm open to any thoughts or ideas people might have. Yeah, just off the top.
I would love to hire an artist to try and do that crosswalk that we've talked about, to do it live while, like, during that. Maybe not have it be a community thing, but have an artist actually do
Interesting.
It may be a prime spot for places to be set up. So I don't know if it'd be a hard one to do. I like the idea. I think it's great.
Yeah, it might be hard because of all the people walking around. You're right, but I think you're onto something here with a live artist, and maybe it can be coupled with your downtown work, Sean. Maybe something could be done that day downtown. You
mean downtown work, as in what, like the
like downtown enhancements? We talked about before, right? And so maybe there is something that we could have a few things going around in town or something like that on that day.
Yeah.
To make an impact.
I actually like that. And so one of the things I was kind of like randomly thinking about with the downtown enhancements, which I hadn't looked at logistics or anything yet, was, and this is kind of, I know, backtracking, but also for new business, was like the little mural-esque things, little paintings on like the sidewalk that go with the like benches or go with trash cans or something like that. I've seen like kind of like little cute little animals that like, that kind of look like they're the shadow of a bench that become like something else. And so that's something that could potentially be done downtown at the same time, and just something small scale, but people can kind of be there and see it and watch it and ask questions and have to walk in it.
Yeah. Okay. Thoughts from anyone else at the moment?
I was wondering what if there was something you were thinking of specifically too for the enhancements in that vein.
It really wasn't. I mean, I think we've talked nothing new other than the things we've talked about before. I think the benches were an opportunity, trash receptacles were an opportunity, right? Things like that. You wouldn't have to do them all. Right. A couple of them that are done in just an interesting way. That it's pretty low cost. They're not permanent. So it's like they can be very different. They can be redone. Kind of thing. Over time too, right? So
if there was a I'm gonna kind of like cling on to trash receptacles for a moment here. If there was a way to have like a community involved thing for that, I mean, would that work? Would that be something the town would kind of get on board with? We have a bunch of the trash cans somewhere, and everyone kind of come through and paint them, put a handprint on them, do something on them, kind of a splotch, whatever, and then they get kind of dispersed throughout the town for 6 months or a year or something like that, and brought back to display or stay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that something the town would get on board with? Okay.
I think we could make a case for that. Yeah.
I like community involvement, if you can't tell.
Yeah, I think so. I think I agree. And it gets them more vested. It's interesting. It's fun to engage with them and all that kind of thing. So
I think that was a lot of our awareness around the committee too, was done with people coming and doing, actually getting their hands on it and seeing, doing part of it as well. So
right, agreed. So okay. Well, keep the ideas flowing on this also, let's see if we can come up with some other, thoughts as well. And then, it'll come very rapidly. So we'll want to try to close on this by next meeting and make a decision, right? If we're going to do something or not, because that'll, they'll only have a couple of month window to actually make it happen. Okay. All right. The last one, which isn't on the list, new item is we did receive a donation from a private person to Public Art, which is terrific, in the amount of about $6,000. So it's a nice chunk of change. And the way it works is they actually make the donation to CAPS, which is Citizens for Apex Parks. CAPS then in turn kind of donates it back or earmarks it for whatever the purpose was. Like somebody could say, hey, I want to donate for a swing set, and great. And they put it there. They earmark it for a swing set. In this case, it's earmarked for public art. So we can use it for a future project. One thing that I talked to the chair of the CAPS committee about was if there's something that they would like to purchase that, could be a permanent part of our collection or something like that, they can go ahead and do that. They asked about the sculptures. We talked a little bit about that, what's there. And from a price point perspective, there is one that is in that range. And so I brought that to their attention. So they're actually having a discussion around that as if to see if they would like to do that. So it might be the donation, in essence, could be a purchase of a piece of art and they donate that to the town, which again, that would be terrific, right? Why not? Why not? So, just raising this with this team here, because I'm not sure if at some point they may ask us to kind of weigh in on that or provide them other suggestions or recommendation or something like that. But that's the one that I kind of thought of that seemed like a possibility. But there may be others too. So I'm not sure if anybody here has a thought on something that they would recommend or something, some other route that perhaps should be taken with those funds. The one thing I kind of didn't want to do was just have it maybe just added, to just the whole overall funding. It would be nice if we could have it maybe, a little bit more specific to either a specific project or again, a specific piece of art or something like that.
Did they express any interest in buying one of the sculptures? Was that
totally open? They said, you guys, kind of use it as you see fit, and as long as it goes towards public art for the town.
That's cool.
Yeah, so very open.
But I'd love it if we could just buy another one of the sculptures.
Yeah. Again, that feels like a really good path, right? Because it would be very tangible and something that could be, we could turn around quite quickly.
Well, and also we wouldn't.
If it was used for one of the sculptures, would it theoretically just stay in the current location and be in the same place for the walk, or would it like go to a park or something?
Well, it could do either. We could make a choice depending on which piece it was and that type of thing. We could say, yeah, that's a great spot for it. Let's leave it there, or it could be there for a while and then later the town decide to move it as well. Could be either way.
I mean, how many of the concrete pads are we going to reuse already anyway?
Yeah, we should be able to reuse most of them. The exact count in my head. The only one that, depending on what we do with the arch, there's 2 pads where the arch is currently. I've proposed another location for the arch where it could actually be used as an arch, where you could kind of walk under it, but there are some building code issues to work through, and we're kind of working on those right now. So if that was in a different spot, maybe one that kind of showcases it a little better, then we would have like an extra pad there that we would probably use one of those, and the other one we, chip out of there or something like that. But I don't think there's any other locations that we would fully abandon.
I think we also want to add another one further downtown by the Baptist church, right?
That's right. Right. So we'll have at least one pad if that one goes through. We'll have a couple of new pads to put in. And then possibly the one that we did near the Haley was a really tiny pad. So, it might need to be just, enlarged or replaced.
Cool.
Okay.
I guess my point there is rather than get rid of a pad, try and buy one of the pieces of art and just continue to have that pad.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ideally, maybe where it is, and that's. I
mean, let the donor pick which one they wanted to try and buy. I don't know. What was the price range?
Yeah, it's $6,000, so it's lower. I mean, most of them were considerably more than that. So the one that was in that range is called Inky. That's the stone one downtown.
Okay.
Yeah. The others were quite a bit more than that. But again, depending on if we coupled it with other funding, maybe something else could be done. But that would be one that is a potential that matches up pretty well. So, but I'll again, more to come on that. I'll let you know what this CAPS group says and how they, what they're thinking on how it might go, and then again, I'll come back to this team, and maybe there's a vote, here to decide. If they ask us to make a decision, we could make a vote or a proposal to to town council or something like that in a future meeting. Okay.
Is it possible that any of the new sculptures coming in would also be in that range?
Yes.
Just briefly looking, that could be a possibility as well. For when we install, we can almost do a, donated on the plaque, essentially donated by, anonymous donor through CAPS or, how you want to do it.
That's a possibility as well. Mhm.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so that's it for items listed there, but I'll open it up if there's anything else people, anyone wants to add to the discussion today. All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion for that.
All right, second.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No opposed, and the meeting is closed. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you and see